Hi, I'm Ordell Borg. This is our bass spirit flute in the key of low D and low E. It's made out of Spanish cedar. Now, the interesting thing about this flute is it is different. It's structurally different in terms of the airflow. It is quite a bit shorter than a double-chambered flute, like a native flute. And because it is shorter, it is a little bit easier to play for smaller hands. That's important. Having said that, the fingering holes on this flute are the exact same size as the native flute, native bass flute. So if you have thin fingers, that may not be an advantage. That may not be able to, even though it's shorter. But because it is shorter, the double chamber flute is about 2 inches longer. So you have to cock your wrist a little bit more. Because this is shorter, you're able to play a little bit more flat fingers closer to your body. And the more flat fingered you can play, the easier it is to close the holes. But if you have thin fingers, it's still going to be a challenge. The nice thing about this particular flute is because it is structurally, the airflow structure is very different. The native flute has a double chamber. This does not have a double chamber. It's a direct airflow. It's only 1 inch from where you blow into the flute to the sharp edge, which is the fipple. The advantage of that is it gives you a lot of control over the airflow because you're right there, right at that sharp edge. But it also means that you have to sort of get used to playing it a little bit differently. If you blow the same amount of pressure as you would in the native flute, it may be too much. If it is too much, it tends to sound a little bit breathy. Blowing a little bit less might be whimsical, but even less, this flute is very responsive to a small amount of air, small amount of breath. The advantage to it is that because you're right there at the fipple, you're able to add a little bit more pressure when you need it. You can get actually two or three more notes on the higher end because you're right there. You don't have that double chamber buffering your airflow. And it is shorter. So it's great for travel, and it's a little bit easier to play. You can play more flat-fingered. You can create the same embouchure, like we always say in the native flute. You create an embouchure that, like you're kissing it. Or you can create another embouchure, which is wrap your mouth around it and just breathe into it. Try all the different embouchures. Play with it. Kind of get a little crazy with it because it has a totally different airflow to it. The voice is slightly different. Anytime you change airflow, you're going to get different intonation. You're going to get a totally different sound quality. But overall, it's a wonderful flute. It's really easy to play. Give it a shot. I think you'll like it.